What's up, folks? It's been a while. Elite Speak here, back at you with another AEW Dynamite review for August 30th, 2021. And this is the last episode that takes place in Daily's place for Dynamite. This show will mark the end of the pandemic era. And I, for one, cannot wait till that first show. I can't wait for that first show at Miami. It's going to be so nice to be out of Daily's place after a year and some change. Definitely a change of scenery was needed. Woo! Love it. Love it. How about we talk about some of the matches? We kicked off the night. We had Chris Jericho on commentary. And that was pretty good. He came out, he made his entrance, and everyone sang Judas again. People love the sing-along, and it's continuing to be a trend, which is nice for Jericho. And he seems to genuinely enjoy this, which is good stuff. Makes for nice television. We kicked the night off with our first match. Eddie Kingston and Penta El Cero Miedo going up against the AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks. And this was a great match, a great opener. Kingston and Penta defeat the Bucks via a package pile driver and a spinning back fist. And this surprised me. I did not think the Penta and Kingston were going to win this match. I did not think that. Well, AEW does not have much of a history of having their champions pinned, but this would mark the Young Bucks' first loss in almost a year. And that honor was bestowed upon Kingston and Pentagon. And this was a good match. I'm just surprised that they won. I wasn't expecting that. This will mark the first time, really, that the champions have been pinned, and it will lead to a title match. And the only other time a champion has been pinned was a few months ago, back when Darby Allin was the TNT champion. He was pinned in a tag team match, I believe. I forget who was in it, but he was pinned. And that was like the only time in AEW where that has happened. And it's a rare occurrence, so I am willing to let it pass, but I am still not a fan of champions losing when they are not supposed to. They should only lose if they're going to lose those titles. But in this case, it's fine because it doesn't happen often in AEW. We followed it up with a Christian Cage and Jungle Boy segment. Christian says that Jungle Boy can take something from that loss that he incurred the previous week or this past Saturday against Omega for the world title. Christian believes he's going to be the champ someday. And he says Jungle Boy has a chance to make it to 50 wins tonight. Not long after that, Luchasaurus steps in and he says he is a friend to Christian, and they immediately bonded after talking about dinosaurs with one another as they walked off camera. Interesting segment. Christian seems to be taking Jungle Boy under his wings, but one has to imagine, will this lead to a betrayal down the line? I can see it happening, really, but only time will tell. We followed that up with Ethan Page and Tony Schiavone interview segment in ring. The crowd was letting Ethan Page have it. They wasn't having any of his nonsense. They were booing. They were making a lot of noise. And the worst thing that can happen to you if you're a wrestler, going out to complete silence. So this did a lot of favors for Ethan Page. So he got what he wanted and what he needed, what his character needed. He says the coffin match is gonna cripple Darby Allin mentally. The crowd chants, "We can't hear you," which is their way of getting a what chants off, which for the second week in a row, Ethan Page was getting a little bit of a what chant in the crowd, which sucks because pre-pandemic AEW did not have what chants breaking out. And if they did, they were shut down immediately. So hopefully the fans in the future have the gratitude to shut down fans who try to start those silly chants. After that, Sting later appears with seemingly a coffin on stage. Eventually, Darby Allin pops out of the coffin and runs down the ramp and attacks Ethan Page. And Sting stops Scorpio Sky from interfering as he grabs him and Scorpion death drops Sky, which takes him out. Darby then gouges out or attempts to gouge out Ethan Page's eyes. Ethan then says the match is off and maybe, just maybe, they'll have it at Fyter Fest if Darby Allin can agree to not touch him before then. And many think this match was rescheduled from the Road Rager episode that is going to occur in Miami due to a recent tragedy that happened in Miami in regards to a building collapse. Half of a building collapsed and some lives were claimed. So it would have most likely been in bad taste to have this casket match in Miami. So it will be moved to one of the Fyter Fest shows in Texas. So that should be fine. And it shows that AEW is very much in tune with what is going on in the world. We follow that up with a Jack Evans going up against Jungle Boy. Later in the match, Jungle Boy locks in the snare trap, which gets the crowd going hot. Jungle Boy has really got this new submission hold over. And the crowd knows once they see that the match is most likely going to be over, and it was. Jungle Boy gets the tap out victory, forces Jack Evans to tap, and Jungle Boy gets his 50th win in AEW, the first AEW wrestler to do such. The grizzled veteran Jungle Boy. Post-match, the Hardy family office comes out, but they get disrupted by the Jurassic Express. So a feud is brewing within those two groups. We follow that up with an MJF segment. How low is Sammy Guevara willing to stoop? MJF said. Later, MJF says he's willing to give Jericho his last match with himself, MJF. After he beats Jericho, he wants Jericho to leave him alone. So after Jericho loses to MJF, because I don't think MJF's going to lose to Jericho, that will end the feud, I believe, the Pinnacle feud. So the Pinnacle and Inner Circle feud, hopefully, they'll end it. And it seems like they may stretch this out for a good amount of time. So we shall see. We then follow that up with Andrade and Alex Abrahantes backstage in an interview segment. Andrade says he's going to face Matt Sydal, or Matt something as he called him, in the city of Latinos, and that happens to be Miami. So that match will be set for the Road Rager episode next week in Miami, which should be good. And I'm looking forward to that. I've never really seen Andrade work because I didn't watch WWE. So we'll see how he does in AEW. And hopefully he fares well. We then followed that up with a Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion, and Tony Schiavone segment in ring. Omega says he has to take time off because there's no challengers left in AEW. He beat pretty much everybody that is qualified to challenge him for the title. But not long after that, the Dark Order comes out. Evil Uno with mic in hand. He suggests someone that Omega has not faced and is very much qualified to challenge him. And he happens to be the number one contender for the title right now. And Omega later tells off all the Dark Order. It was insinuated that Adam Page isn't ready to challenge Omega. And Omega says he doesn't have the guts. So we'll see. We then followed up with our next match. The TNT champion Miro going up against Brian Pillman Jr. Miro debuted some new entrance music, and he has a new moniker, and he is going under the Redeemer. So Miro is no longer the best man, which is good because that run wasn't as great as what he's doing right now. I'm liking this Redeemer God-like Miro character. Miro wins, of course, via a game over to Pillman Jr. And it was a valiant effort from Pillman, but it was not enough to overcome the monstrous Miro. We then followed that up with Adam Page snapping at the Dark Order. He said, why did they offer him up? He was wondering, he was upset that they even insinuated that he should be going up against Omega. But they all offer up words of encouragement. And in the end, Alex Reynolds says it's his time. He can do it. So they are teasing the eventual matchup of Adam Hangman Page going up against the AEW World Champion and Kenny Omega. And it's almost about time that he loses that title, because if reports are accurate, Omega is a bit hurt right now. He's hurting, but he's going through with all his commitments. So we shall see how that goes. Then comes the worst segment of the night. We all knew it was going to end this way. Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero versus Britt Baker, the AEW Women's Champion, and Rebel. This match was not good, and it resulted in an injury to Rebel, which after reports today that she seems to be okay because she dislocated her kneecap, but it has since been relocated and she is doing better now. So we should still see her next time Britt Baker makes an appearance, I believe. But Britt Baker and Rebel, or Reba, win via the lockjaw. Post-match, Nyla powerbombs Britt through a table, and that had to sting a bit for Britt. Now, I'm not sure if they're trying to turn Britt face, or are they just trying to put some heat on, or if they are trying to make it seem like it's going to be tough for Britt to defend her title against Nyla. I don't think Nyla's beating Britt. Nyla is she's not going to beat Britt. She's just going to be like a roadblock, but in the end, Britt will overcome and on to the next. And I am, for one, not feeling this Britt-Nyla match-up scenario. They just don't mesh well, in my opinion, but they may prove me wrong. But this match was not a good indication of where the feud is going. So we'll see what happens. I was not a fan of this match. I was hoping for a Vicky swerve, but nope. Vicky actually got in the ring. And then we followed that up with the great main event, MJF versus Sammy Guevara. This will be a world title matchup in the future. Mark my words. These two are the future of AEW, and we got a taste of what they are capable of, and we'll get to see this many times over the years, I'm sure. The match gets a lot of time. It started at like the 30 minutes to the end of the show mark. And it started off with a lot of mat wrestling. Both guys look good doing such. But in the end, MJF wins via interference from Shawn Spears via a chair shot to Guevara, which the referee did not see or hear. And there you have it. There's your review for AEW Dynamite, August 30th, 2021. And I thought it was a great episode, despite the bad women's tag match. It's great. Also, I forgot to mention that we had a video package of the pandemic era of all the moments that happened during AEW's time in Daily's place over the past year plus. And it was great. And it ended on a gaffe of JR goofing up on commentary, mentioning that There's nothing like seeing WWE Dynamite live, which is not accurate, but I got to get a laugh out of it. It was definitely memed up on social media. You know, a lot of people have picked that up in their news feed, so that's news. But there you have it. That was the show. Thought it was good. I enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to the post-pandemic era of AEW, starting off with Miami's show. So I'll catch you guys next week for the Miami Road Rager episode of Dynamite. And feel free to leave a comment, as I enjoy reading those. Leave a like, and if you're really feeling daring, hit that subscribe button for more of my takes on AEW Dynamite and soon to be Rampage. I will catch you later.